Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Keenan Higgs Higgins with another Black America Web exclusive. Now, y'all know I'm here with the Rising Voices, some of the great film directors in the Rising Voices competition from Lena Waithe. And we have one of the, it was such an interesting movie, and I can't wait to talk about it. Anndi Jinelle Liggett, let's just talk about this. Thank you so much for just having Black America Web, but let's just talk about first and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So before we get started, just talk to me a little bit about your career and just your journey as a filmmaker and how you got to this point, just from the inception of I want to be a filmmaker.
Mm. Well, I feel corny every time I say this, but I really can't remember a time I didn't want to be a filmmaker or a storyteller in some way. I've always just been like enthralled with, the medium and, didn't know how to get involved exactly. I knew I wanted to be a writer, but directing kind of came later because I didn't know that was something I could be or something to aspire to. And it really wasn't until I got much older where I got like a taste of being on set, where I saw the inner machinations of like what happens behind the camera, that I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. So I applied to film school, I got in, and I've just been in love with it ever since.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like your work speaks for itself, particularly with I feel like would you consider your breakout project, which is Jelly. Last year it was just the film festivals couldn't get enough. Like, can you talk to a little bit of people who weren't, I guess, privy enough to see it yet, or just where was your mind at when you were doing that project, and what was the ultimate goal that you wanted to like get off with that?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. Jelly is very near and dear to my heart. I really just wanted to tell a once upon a time story about Black kids in Brooklyn. I think we deserve that too. And we don't get to see Black kids, in a state of play, adventure, and magic. And that was really my primary goal. I was really inspired by children's literature, Nancy Drew style, Harriet the Spy, and wanted to put a Black girl at the helm of one of those stories.
Yeah, and it kind of goes right into the project Untended Thoughts, which is like, it was so interesting when I sat there. I spoke. It's funny because I'm speaking to a few different directors, and I spoke to Omar recently, and I was talking and I was saying how when you do short films, there's an interesting way you can do it, where you can like kind of clean it up and make it one neat project and kind of have a clean thing, or you can leave a little bit of room for imagination and like kind of keep it open ended. And where he kind of went with the latter, I felt like this project went with the former, where it was such a, you got the understanding of what was happening here, even though there was so much metaphorical energy, but there was a clean cut story. And for you, what was it like telling that story, and why, how did this translate to the future of work for you?
Yeah, I wanted to tell a story that was very visually driven, because it is really taking like the inner perspective of, someone working out something that's going on in their head. They're trying to come back to themselves, right? So it's very personal and very like, yeah, I want it to be visually driven. And for me, the story is both like a satirical look at like corporate culture and the workplace grind, but also I wanted it to have like a tender portrayal of what it means to not conform to societal expectations and to be the person that you always were. So that was really the story for me, and I just wanted to like have a magical but also like a very matter-of-fact approach to how I told the story. And in terms of like how I see it relating to my future work, I am just really drawn to any story about a Black woman coming into their power with a sense of like heart and humor. I also just love magical realism, and I want to see Black people in those fantastical spaces more.
Yeah, and I loved so much of the metaphors where it was like the hair growing, and then like you said, even balancing that whole the comedic element, because there was so much of that relatability of corporate work for a person of color in an instance like that, and it was so much storytelling in that. And I guess with this project, what was some of the elements that really like brought the project together, from like the storytelling, or like from the actors, or like the colors that you use? Because I feel like even that, the color theme was amazing. Like there were just so many great things about this project.
My favorite thing about making a film in general is the collaboration. Like I just love nerding out with other people in the departments, like, and just like thinking about what are the possibilities of this film? What can we do? How can we like enhance the story through the color, through the camera movement, through the choreography, which there's a little bit of that in this film. And so that was really, really fun. And so I think like just bringing in all of my department heads and working together to be like, this is a story about a woman who feels like she has conformed for too long and is trying to come out of her shell. How do we use costume and production design to really emphasize that and show her emotional journey?
I love that. You definitely accomplished that. And I'm asking pretty much everybody who I'm interviewing, outside of your own project, what was one that stood out to you, whether it was at the Rise of Voices competition or just throughout the Tribeca Festival?
Ooh, it's a great question. There were so many good films. I mean, honestly, I was really pleasantly so like surprised and impressed by how incredible all of the films within the Rising Voices showcase was. You know, it's funny, we actually didn't know anybody's film. We didn't read other people's scripts, and we had never seen a cut. So it was brand new for all of us. So I was just honestly really proud of everyone. We've gotten to know each other on a personal level, but didn't see each other's work. And so to like know people so intimately first, and then to see their work after, was a really beautiful experience. And it just, every project felt exactly like them. And I was just really proud of everyone. And it was such a testament to like the filmmakers that Rising Voices picks, and like the diversity of all of our voices was really, really shined.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a pass, because I will say all of those films, I was seated and it was just everyone float like they flowed into each other, but they were all individual and they all told that story so well, and stayed on theme, and it was great. So kudos to y'all. But one of the things, even with this interview happening months after the festival, is that it doesn't, it might have began for some people, or it might have continued there, but it doesn't end there, and it only continues. And so for you, would you say is the next steps? Is it more film projects? Is it stuff that we haven't seen? Is it keep continuing to push some of the projects that some people haven't seen yet? Like what's next up for you?
Yeah, so right now, both Jelly and Tender Thoughts are still like within the festival circuit. So that's really exciting, and just, you know, seeing that grow and, you know, build more of an audience. I'm working on a feature right now, which is kind of an extension of Jelly, which I'm really excited about. And then I'm also, you know, one of the perks of, you know, getting this exposure and getting my film out there is, you know, I have gotten representation, and I'm in my first writer's room. So that's really exciting. And just, yeah, I'm just excited to continue to make more work, whether it's, you know, my own ideas or others, and, you know, just make good art, hopefully.
So listen, you have our full attention. You are a Black woman getting it, and we are just so excited here at Black America Web to see your future work. So we're fans. We're fans. Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.